Racine McGregor, former Golden Boot winner, Dally M medalist as well in 2022, reunited in the halves with this lady, Zahara Temera. They won a grand final together as Roosters a few years back.
Yeah, they did. Their timing together from their time playing with the Roosters will be crucial, but so too their pack and what they can do to set the momentum and the platform for them to play off the back of.
So the Rugby League year of 2024 starts now on Nine's Wide World of Sports, and a slip from the kick-off allows the Indigenous team to really muscle up defensively and make the opening tackle inside the 10.
Yeah, messy first little start touch there for the Maori, and that little bit of rain that we've seen on the screen is going to be really, makes it really greasy because it's not quite heavy. It's just enough to make it greasy underfoot and the ball in hand.
Around about 8 millimetres of rain has fallen since 9 a.m. this morning in Townsville. Temperatures still in the mid to late 20s. Humidity high as ever this time of the year in Townsville as Temera goes down that short side for Bo Vetty Welsh in an unfamiliar position. Never played in the centres, but she said she'll play as a prop to be part of this occasion. Fabulous player. And we're used to seeing as a fullback down the years. Here's Martor, two-time player of the year with the Gold Coast Titans. And they've done well to edge up towards halfway after the clunky start from the kickoff. And now Temera goes high down towards Upton aggressively, takes it on the full with the chaser. Destiny Brill called out of that, and that's a focus for the referees, of course, for the downtown and all that. More on that later as we check in with Marley Silver on the sideline.
Well, good afternoon. Yes, it is always hot here up in Townsville, but when this rain sets in like it has since last night, it just becomes a different kind of humidity. 80% humidity, in fact, and 28 degrees. We've actually seen 26 millimetres of rain since 9 o'clock this morning, which will certainly make this pitch quite slippery and make it averse to mistakes, just as we saw there. But I tell you what, we're set up for a pretty special match here. I've been here all week and the cultural spirit is very high.
A nice tackle by Brooke Anderson right up and under. This is probably a key to her game. Her defensive contact is fantastic. She gets right up and under that ball, and in these conditions what I would call a grade 3 tackle like that is going to be really important because it constantly makes the attacker ensure they've got grip on that footy.
I think there's going to be a couple of key things to look out for. We've already seen the way that the conditions are going to play their hand in the result, but so too the fitness levels of both of these clubs. We'll get to see fatigue come in at the back end of each half, which is a little bit of a leveller. So we'll get to see who's worked hard over the summer, and like Marley said, and we've all noted here, those conditions, they can be a little bit tricky with the humidity and the rain that's set in.
As that go forward from Biddle in the edge back rower roll, and now Hilmawana off the back of it. Awkward the way she was bent over there. It looked like she might have been screaming out in pain, but no damage done, so flexible. And now Brill from dummy half. And Kelly Signs just holding on. Needs some backup as well. How strong is Destiny Brill, the 20-year-old in the number 9 for the Māori All-Stars. Now Shannon Martor. A little bit of clunkiness about that play. Tries to force it out the back, and what about that awareness from Keely Joseph?
That was lovely. She was sniffing right around there. You could see it. She saw exactly what was happening. She saw that offload was coming and put herself in a great position. Took that bit of pressure off the error from her front rower. I think it was Kelly Signs a little bit earlier.
You want to be sure of taking that intercept as well so late in the tackle count as we take another look at it here.
She knew it was coming. She called for it.
Pass behind Harden, and here is Joseph, who pulled off the intercept, a Queenslander. He made the trip down from Brisbane to chase her rugby league dream with the Roosters, and now a regular on the rep scene. Talisha Harden, who is a co-captain of the North Queensland Cowboys, along with Kira Dibb, who's another teammate here today. Here is Dibb right on cue with the kick on her right boot out towards the wing of Hunt. Safely taken by Faye, and Bobby Law with intent on that chase.
Yeah, that was excellent. And a kick, Kira Dibb has an excellent kick, but you can't just have a kicker sitting out there on their own. You have to have the chase up to the task, and this has given the Indigenous All-Stars a really good pep in their step now. Their line speed then was really good.
Strong run out of dummy half. Comes from Shanice Parker. On the same side of the field at the moment with Bo Vetty Welsh, the two centres listed in the starting lineup. So Parker now getting across to the right-hand side where she'll be stationed throughout this encounter.
Didn't see what Rochelle Tamarua called that penalty for there. It looked a little innocuous live, but maybe on replay we might be able to identify what she saw, or the touch judge.
Great field position here for the Maori All-Stars in search of the first points of this All-Stars encounter. Biddle told to go back to where that tackle was completed.
Just staying on her feet and getting that leg drive. She is such a powerhouse.
Take two on that play of the ball. Martel was ready and back in position to hit it up anyway.
It's always a tough one when you have to carry after a stoppage like that because everyone catches their breath.
Overlap being created here potentially for Shanice Parker in that right centre role. Head-to-head with Jamie Chapman. Think back to the grand final last year between the Titans and the Knights. They went head-to-head in that one too, and Chapman scored a hat-trick, of course. So watch this space in that head-to-head battle.
Yeah, you could see Shanice Parker staying in nice and tight then and sweeping late. So she obviously knows that Jamie Chapman's got the pace to cover it. She's going to have to outsmart her with time.
Betty Welsh out in front of Zali Faye, who scored the first and last try last year, but could not hold on here.
Even though it was a bit clunky, they were still able to find some space on the edge there, the Maori All-Stars. And that was... We've seen how devastating Anessa Biddle has been and what attention she draws. She ran an unders line there. It came back against the grain. It just held up the defence a little bit, created that space on the outside. And Zali Faye knows she's missed an opportunity there.
Scored what proved the match-winning try last year in Rotorua. There is Parker right up in the face of Jamie Chapman. You don't want to let her stride out.
No, exactly right. She's met her assignment then, line speed and just making sure that Jamie Chapman doesn't gain that momentum because that stride gets some serious pace very quickly. And now the Indigenous women have a bit of a piggyback out of their own half.
Talia Fuimaono, great to see her back playing rugby league. Wiped out in the opening round of last season, watched her Gold Coast Titans go all the way to the grand final where she was an unused replacement player in that game and now finally back playing competitive rugby league again.
Yeah, it is great to see her back in there, and you know, she played in the Sky Blues, the second origin. And unfortunately that injury just sort of kept her out at the back end of the year, but she is a very, very talented young footballer.
Yeah, she's held off on the ankle surgery, hoping she might be part of that grand final day, and then went under the knife afterwards, so delayed her rehab and recuperation for a while there, but ready to go for this one at the start of the new rugby league year. Now Dip hits Olivia Koenig, who's played for both of these teams in this fixture, representing her father's side one year and mother's side the next. She's played for the Indigenous side once before and the Maori All-Stars twice. So it's her second appearance in the Indigenous jersey for Olivia Koenig, one of the Dally M second rowers of the year last year. Now Dib, and no look pass, and it showed a little, didn't it? Made it tough on Shaylee Bent running on the angle.
Yeah, unfortunately that one, Shay just pulled up her line there. I think if she'd sort of kept her pace and kept her width a little bit, she would have been in a nice position there. But again, these conditions, you do have to tighten things up a little bit until you get a real feel for it.
Jazzy Strange in off her wing for work in the number 5 jumper. Her dad, John, coach of the Roosters, part of the coaching staff here for the Maori All-Stars. Great tackle around the legs by Quincy Dodd. Shannon Martor takes plenty to stop her. Rolling off the back of it here, though, the Maori All-Stars, and now McGregor. Options, no look pass, and look at the gap open up here for Parker. Upton makes the try saver. Good quick play of the ball. McGregor looking for her halves partner, finds Temera in the end. And now Bo Vetty Welsh with some footwork. And how well did the Indigenous side do there to slide?
Well, I'm not sure that they knew that it was 5th tackle there, Vetty Welsh. They got a little bit overexcited that she had a little bit of room to play with, but that was a brilliant set in the lead up from the Maori women. They had a couple of really great hits from their middle forwards. They generated quick play the balls, and then Racine McGregor it's play on. Found Shanice Barker.
Hey, if the ref didn't see it, it's play on.
That's play on for me. But yeah, just a brilliant set, working both sides of the ruck, but after they got that momentum and some quick play the ball, so good footy.
Physicality in that tackle from Hilmawana left a mark or two on Jamie Chapman, who's sucking in the big ones. And the wind knocked out of her as she fell to the ground there. With a big tackle from the front rower. Taking a swig on the water bottle in back play as Dibb goes long, flirting with that sideline. What a remarkable kick this is. It's a 40-10.
You know how I said you don't just leave a kicker standing out there and don't just give it to her. Just let her kick like that. That is a beautiful kick.
Oh, let's look at that again.
Look at how narrow this angle is too. And she just threads it beautifully, gets it between the fullback and the sideline, and the ball just runs.
And remember the rule in Women's Rugby League is 40-30. She's almost pulled off a 30-10
Yeah,
there.
that is a ripper of a kick.
Wow. Poor Corbin Baxter's going to have a couple of nightmares about that one for a while, but brilliant kick, Kira Dibb. She's been renowned for her kicking game for a very long time in Women's Rugby League, and she just proved to anyone watching today exactly why.
Hometown favourite, of course, North Queensland Cowboys until at least 2026 now, Kira Dibb, after signing a contract extension. They wanted it short side, but they went to the open for Tamaya Kelly-Signs to set them up. Now Quincy Dodd trying to orchestrate things from dummy half. We'll go back deep to Fui Mayono, and now a space opening up for Bent potentially. Strange came in off the wing and helped make the tackle. Best field position so far for the Indigenous side off the back of that 40-30. And Janelle Williams is on already in the number 16 jumper.
They needed to shift that one to the opposite side of the post then, the Indigenous side.
Now Dodd. And they get to the last. Quincy Dodd regretting that run as she ran into the shoulder of Butler and Sherrington. Short side, Fui Mayono, and Chapman picked off again by Shanice Parker. What a tackle.
Yeah, great defence that entire set from the Maori women to hold out the Indigenous girls, but there was a couple of times, as Rue mentioned, that those short side options that they could have hit earlier on in the set. Tamika Upton on the right edge, it was almost like she tried to make that overcall, but they weren't hitting her there. So they're creating the opportunities. I think she needs to be a little bit more dominant and demand that footy, because anywhere where she is popping up, there are going to be opportunities around her, and that set showed it twice.
Brill from dummy half, caught high and awkwardly by Shailey Bent, and the whistle is blown immediately.
Yeah, I think awkward is probably the best descriptor there. There was no malice in it, it was just very awkward. But also for the Indigenous girls, they've made a change too. Grace Kemp on the field. Very excited about her season for the Canberra Raiders last year. Excited to see her here today as well.
A proud Wiradjuri woman who played for a lot of Indigenous teams in her time in rugby union as well, and delighted to be part of this fixture for the first time. One of the Indigenous debutantes today, along with Kimberly Hunt. And Tanika Todd Hunter as well, who have come off the bench to give Quincy Dodd a chop out in that dummy half role. So here's Rima Butler, and did cough it up. Was fighting for ball control there in these wet, greasy conditions with 3 in the tackle, and the Indigenous side helped create that error.
They did. She's on debut as well, Rima Butler, here today, and just wanted to get involved. But their numbers in the tackle, because Rima Butler is a very strong ball runner. If she gets a head of steam up, it's very, very difficult to stop. And the Indigenous All-Stars have done their homework on her. They know that. They got numbers in that tackle and forced that error.
There's a couple of players in that tackle that I've been really looking forward to seeing for their respective sides. Grace Kemp and, as Rue just mentioned, Rima Butler. I just love that they're out there playing today.
Strong contact again, Bobby Law. The victim is Anessa Biddle, and Tamara combined nicely defensively. There is Kemp. A little bit of post-contact on offer from Grace. And now Dibb. Here comes Upton wrapping around, and Bobby Law wanted to go to Kimberly Hunt, but Zali Faye jamming in off the wing this time to great effect. Slowed down the play, the ball too long though.
That's all right for the Indigenous women. They're in a great position on the field, and I think holding that last pass up was the right decision. She could have let it go. There would have been extra pressure on. They get to restart their set here, and they're in a wonderful position to attack.
15-minute quarters, of course, so they've only got about 2 or 3 plays here before the first break in this All-Stars encounter. So are they aware? Are they watching the clock here? Kemp sets them up, 5 metres out. We're going to see a scoreless first period, or can the Indigenous side find the first points? Upton clever, and Bent scores! Tamika Upton again on a big stage, comes up with a massive moment, and Shaylee Bent is the beneficiary.
Well, Speedy, you asked the question, were they watching the clock? I guarantee you, at the very least, there was one player out there all over it, and that's the woman that put in that lovely little grubber kick, Tamika Upton. She gets it nice and wide and deep. She gave herself that time and space to be able to play with the defence. There was no fullback in sight, and then just a lovely little grubber kick. We see here on the Harvey Norman replay, footy in 2 hands. She had the ball positioned perfectly. And in these conditions, she couldn't have played her role any better.
And it's a great reaction on the Harvey Norman replay. It's a great reaction from Shay Bent as well, because this whole first period, she has been hitting that line and just getting the defence to think that she is going to be coming in tight every single time. And this time she held that line perfectly. She hit where she needed to between the half and the second rower. She got right there, and that's exactly where Upton was aiming for too. And the kick was well weighted, and Shay Bent did beautifully to pick it up on the fly. Look here, you can see her running. She's just keeping her line, holds her feet, and does well to pick it up in really tricky conditions.
And Kira Dibb cannot add the extras. It's 4-0 to the Indigenous side at quarter time on Nines Wide World of Sports.
Freak, you reckon?
An absorbing opening quarter, and right on the stroke of quarter time, some genius again from Tamika Upton. Opened the scoring with Shaylee Bent on the end of things, alum.
Yeah, very pretty to watch. That decision-making from Tamika Upton, and she's been busy. That first 15 minutes, she's been moving both sides of the ruck, having an influence even when she doesn't have the football in her hand, because she draws so much attention to herself from that opposition defensive line. But the biggest difference in that first 15 for me has been the kicking game for the Indigenous women, both short and long. We saw Kira Dibb, pardon me, slot an absolute beauty to get them that territory, and of course Tamika Upton to get the first lot of points for the game. Superior stuff.
Shaylee Bent, just 23 years of age, a 6-time All-Star today. Debuted in this fixture in 2019 as an 18-year-old, and we saw her when she hopped off the bus and had a chat to Marley Silver, what this week means to her, representing her people, her mob from Western Sydney. So second quarter underway in the Women's All-Stars encounter. The Māori All-Stars chasing the game now. And Hilmawana not able to bring it back outside the 20 as she's greeted by 3 eager Indigenous defenders, including the try scorer Bent. Tough meters on offer right now. Brooke Anderson taken back inside the 20 as well.
Well, those points in that break has really given the Indigenous All-Stars plenty. But look, they're trying to move the ball around here, the Māori girls, but the Indigenous All-Stars are just coming in and shutting them down nice and cleanly.
They are sticking the tackles. Space opening up for both Betty Welsh potentially, but the legs tackle made by Joseph. And we get towards the back end of this opening set. Butler with some nice go forward to open up some room for her kicking option here. As Brill, does she know it? Eventually finds McGregor, who was screaming for it to get the kick away on the last, down towards Upton, as we check in again with Marley.
During that quarter-time break, the Indigenous All-Stars made a change with Tanika Todd-Hunter coming on. The 21-year-old is contracted to Parramatta. She's not yet to debut in the NRLW, but it's quite a special moment for head coach of the Indigenous All-Stars women, Jess Skinner, who coached her in her juniors at Dubbo. It's especially a great opportunity for young girls coming through.
Yeah, she is the pride of Dubbo, Tanika Todd-Hunter. There she is with flat service for Quincy Dodd, who started as the dummy half. And now Chapman breaks them. She's done it before on the All-Star stage. And look at the way she glides around the fullback. Jamie Chapman, another try in this showpiece encounter.
Well, I think Fergo spoke about this in maybe the first or second minute. You can't let Jamie Chapman get into any kind of space because her stride length is so long. It's very difficult to get her down onto the ground, and this little outside in play, very, very nice. So Quincy Dodd moving out a little bit wider there, and just look at the way Chapo moves. The Harvey Norman replay, this angle shows it, but I reckon the one from in front would look even better, Fergo.
Mate, the way that she moves just blows my mind. Corbin Baxter, dead set, she had her covered for all money, but we've spoken about it, that momentum that she can gain so quickly. It almost takes her 2 steps, and she's close to full speed, is quite unbelievable. But I loved that little interchange of play that they had with Quincy Dodd and Todd Hunter. Quincy coming outside the ruck with that nice little inside play, just keeping the Māori women guessing in defence. But that's the player, if not Tamika Upton, Jamie Chapman bursting onto the ball on an inside shoulder and then having a one-on-one option with the fullback Corbin Baxter.
And Dib nails the 2 this time. It's 10-0. Jamie Chapman has scored 2 tries and won the Trishina medal in 2022 at Combank Stadium and scored a hat-trick in a losing grand final side. One of the most remarkable statistics from last year. Of course, Ezra Mam did it in the NRL grand final as well for the Broncos. But Chapman, just a devastating ball runner. And the Indigenous team right on top here, 10-0. After 18 minutes of game time, we're playing 15-minute quarters here in the Women's All-Stars.
Yeah, I think what the Indigenous All-Stars are doing really well is they're moving the ruck to attack the ruck. So they're moving the Māori All-Stars around, and then they're just coming back against the grain at them and coming up with the goods every single time they do it. And the Māori All-Stars have yet to adjust to that.
Kemp keeping her feet throughout, and now Todd Hunter goes to work again. Nice physicality from Biddle. But the offload created by Joseph for Dib, and Biddle goes again.
What a double effort. That is some double D.
Started last year on a wing, went to the centres, and now looks like a back rower. week in, week out, potentially, after she played that role for New Zealand as well last year, Inessa Biddle. So the kick goes up from Dibb. Plenty of height on it as well. Tough one for Strange to sit under. Coughs it up, and Bent has 6 more. No, she doesn't.
Yeah, there was some interference coming through there. There were a couple of players sort of getting in the way, and Chapo gives one of the Maori girls a bit of a push in the back. So Jazzy will be breathing a sigh of relief there.
I think I just breathed it for her. The line speed, though, they need to get those smaller parts right, but the line speed from the Indigenous All-Stars has probably given them the upper hand in a big part of this first 20-odd minutes as well.
Well, the road to the Paris Olympics will start for our all-conquering Dolphins at the Australian Swimming Trials at the Brisbane Aquatic Centre, June 10 to 15. Head to swimming.org.au to secure your seats now, where you can catch all the action exclusive, live and free on 9, and available to stream on 9 now as well. Our swimmers will be going for gold in Paris, 26th of July 2024, the Olympics. Coming your way on 9's Wide World of Sports. Here's Brill. Comes back to the open side, and there were plenty of metres on offer as well. Takes them inside the red zone here. She's out of play and plays it on the last. Off the long run, Butler ran a decoy for Temera to go wide. Fade, does she fancy it? Up she goes. Battle for the footy here, and coming down with it, Bobby Law, who's had a terrific opening 20 of this All-Stars game.
Yeah, really well handled in a set that was quite well contained by the Indigenous All-Stars. Great camp. What a run. But just getting up, it looked like Zali Faye.
Offer.
Yeah,
in
was
the
there
air.
2 in there.
Faye fought the Law, and the Law won. Bobby Law, whose sister Andy scored the first try of the touch game earlier. Here's Mahalia Murphy, fresh and ready to go, and the number 17 jumper. Played in this All-Stars fixture back in 2013 and 2015, and now back here in 2024 now as a 30-year-old. Dibb from behind that 40-metre line once more, punches it. It looked like there was a potential clash coming between winger and fullback, but they sorted it out with the chat. Zali Faye and Corbin Baxter.
They both knew the danger from the last time Kira Dibb put all of her weight behind a kick. They both got there, and it almost forced an error here. Again, this is the line speed and the physicality that I've been speaking about.
That's awkward, the way Kira Dibb was clattered into by Shanice Parker after the event. It has to be a penalty against Biddle, who put her hands on the footy from an offside position, and the touch, he tipped that up eventually to the referee. But here's how the ball came out of Parker's grasp.
Yeah, just the line speed and contact has been superior, and just hit a midline there.
Head clash as well. So that's frustration from Shanice Parker, whose work rate is amazing. Comes from that right centre role to come and do a dummy half run, but in the end could not hold on there. So great field position for the Indigenous side, looking to build on this 10-point buffer right now. Kelly Signs off contract after playing for the Canberra Raiders last season. Looking to put her best foot forward here to gain another NRLW deal. There's Kemp, another Raider, bumps off one, takes on all comers, Grace Kemp.
Bumped off her teammate Matua as well.
What about just casually catching the footy in wet conditions with one hand?
Here's Chapman. It's the offload to Murphy, and Baxter follows up defensively.
Now this is where they need to start spreading it here. The fullback's caught in the defensive line.
Back to centre field they come. Harden moves it on to Dibb. So they're trying to go from one side to the other. Again, more brilliant. Hunt on the outside! Burns them! Kimberly Hunt on her All-Stars debut has a moment to remember. The girl from Tully in North Queensland.
Yeah, outstanding finish on that right edge. Bobby Law was the reason that turned from an opportunity into a try, because she picked up a bit of a wobbly pass from Kira Dibb. The opportunity was there. They were sitting back on their heels waiting for the next one, but her hands and just straightening it up, making sure that Zali Faye committed to her to open up that space, as you can see on the Harvey Norman replay for Hunt. That's good footy. That's the difference between just getting good territory and having another crack and a try. Have a look at this. She's looking at Zali Faye straight in the eyes, making sure she bites and that space stays there for Hunt. That's good footy, Roo.
Certainly is, and Kimberly Hunt's another one that's off contract as well. She's in the mix, but
incredibly off contract.
yeah, I thought she was fantastic for the Eels last year. The try that you just saw there is one of many that she scored last year for the Eels, but that was just really good footy now. And I think I want to tip the hat to Talisha Harden to be able to identify that she needed to get the ball out to her half, who was sitting out the back in the pocket ready to go. She sees where the ball needs to get there. It was a bit messy getting to her, but then she made sure it got there because that's where the space was. And then, as we spoke about, that ball handling from Bobby Law in very tricky conditions was fantastic.
I mentioned she's from Tully, which is one of the wettest places in Australia, I think officially by the stats. So she's quite at home in these conditions.
There you go. Training.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. That right side too, they were the ones that put that defensive pressure on to force the error.
Deb nails another conversion. Kimberly Hunt, when she found out that she'd be making her All-Stars debut in Townsville, she said, hell yeah, and she's been asking for every ticket available to have family and friends here to cheer her on, and they've seen her score a try inside half an hour. And she scored 5 of those 4-pointers for Parramatta last year. There's 3 Parramatta wingers involved in this game: Donovan, Zali Faye and Kimberly Hunt here today.
I'm still gobsmacked that she doesn't have a contract.
Great person off the field as well. I think she does some work with Deadly Choices. That's on the jumper for the Indigenous side here today.
This is better line speed from the Maori women.
Trying to get some go forward now through Joseph. Matua just come on, gets involved in that tackle. Looking to provide a spark off the bench in the number 15 jumper. Dodd looking very comfortable in a hybrid role now after moving out of that dummy half position, and earns the penalty. Kennedy Cherrington pinged there for the extra effort, and Dodd coughs it up on play one. What a hit! Oh, Shante Temera, welcome to the ball game.
Well, she's on debut as well, Shante Temera. And I have loved watching her throughout the season as well, but this was really smart play by Dodd. And then, unfortunately for her, Shante Temera, the smallest person on the field, got up and under the footy and forced that error there. Good tackle tech.
Her nickname is Littles. She's already won a grand final with the Brisbane Broncos in her first year in the comp, and what an impact does that provide a turning point in this game. She locks the scrum and moves it on to big sister Z. Zahara Temera and Shante Temera, who both came across from Rotorua to Queensland as youngsters.
Very dangerous around the ruck too, because she's built so low to the ground. She's really hard to get a handle on. So the Indigenous All-Stars are going to have to make sure they stay on the ball.
There is Matua. 1 try in 9 games for Canberra last season. Difficult pass to latch onto for Vetty Welsh, and does knock it on. So they can't capitalise on that turnover on halfway.
Yeah, it's a really hard one to catch. We've spoken about the conditions, and sometimes it might be that you shorten up your passes and you keep things a little bit more simple. You can still change the direction of your runs and get on the inside shoulder other ways, but that pass just behind your hands when it is slippery and when you're running onto the ball at pace is a very hard one to handle. It has to be out in front, straight into the breadbasket.
And again, Bombi Law was right in the periphery of Bo Vetty Welsh as well. Well, the mistakes mounting at the back end of this first half. Potentially fatigue kicking in as we approach the half-hour mark.
Yeah, and this is what Alana spoke about earlier. The fatigue at the back end of the halves is really going to come into play because this is the first game of the year, and obviously conditions as well then adds to that. So we're seeing uncharacteristic errors, and look, and you can see the rainfall now as well. So it's all coming together in a Swiss cheese model.
That was the breadbasket, mind you, that it went straight through. So
Misdirection here to try and open up space for Parker and Strange out on the right edge. But nothing doing there. See Jazzy Peters, who was the 18th player already involved in this ball game, so we'll get Marley Silver onto that to work out who's been ruled out of this game, potentially. As Shante Temera goes back to that short side for Cherrington. Strong run from Parker over the top. Desperate to keep it alive, went forward anyway before the into touch for Jazzy Strange, and she's been alerted to that, so nothing doing there.
No, she needed to hold on to that, and it was a really nice line too that Shanice Parker run, just straight back at that inside shoulder. She got a little bit excited that she saw the winger bite in, so she knew the space was there, but it was so early on in the count. That happened on the first. Needed to just hold on to that one, suck it up, play the footy, and go again.
Just to clarify that, you've got 5 players on the bench and they can all play. It's not like the NRLW when you've got 4 interchange players and a replacement player. All 5 available to come onto the ground. So Jazzy Peters, familiar face. And the NRLW is out there now as the whistle is blown once more. Mistake made in the play the ball. So less than 30 seconds here. They've got to try and freeze the clock and get on with things here, the Maori All-Stars.
Yeah, they'll want to post some points before half-time. They have had majority of possession this sort of last 5-6 minutes. They'll want to capitalise on the field position as well.
Time for 1 or maybe 2 plays as Temera puts it out in front of Faye and kept alive by Hunt. Keeps her feet as well. Here comes Shante Temera. What about the hands from Kimberly Hunt? Side her up. Just got it away in time, but not much adventure. Understandably, they're in control here, the Indigenous All-Stars at half-time in Townsville. They lead by 16 points to 0. Welcome back to the Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. Third quarter about to get underway in the Women's All-Stars game. The Māori side playing catch-up here. It was all the Indigenous team in that first half. They lead this one 16 points to 0. And they'll get the footy first here. Barring a short kick-off, of course, the rule has been tweaked in the off-season as well, trying to encourage teams to chase the games with short kick-offs from either the dropout situation or from halfway. But in these conditions, you'd fancy the Māori All-Stars will be going long and trying to muscle up defensively to create a turnover. Tiana Ralphstrand-Smith, 18 on her back, ready to start this third quarter. So the second half is underway. And of course, we've got the Men's All-Stars game coming up very soon after this one as well. So let's hear from one of the stars of the show with Marley Silver.
Brandon, we haven't seen you play for the All-Stars in 4 years. How are you going to stop these Indigenous men to not go back-to-back tonight?
I'm going to do my best, obviously, but you know, it's not just me that's got their job to do. And obviously, they're full of talent, but so are we. And we're going to play the Māori way, and that's usually down the middle. So I get to lead the boys out, and hopefully, we can do a good job.
And how proud are you doing this tonight?
Yeah, obviously, it's really special. Putting my family on my back and representing my mum's side, it's always very special. And I've obviously been unfortunate enough to miss out the last 4 years, and I'm really excited. I'm a little bit emotional, to be honest. I saw my jersey and it kind of made me want to tear up, and yeah, it's been a long time. So I also just got a baby niece, Aisha May. She's named after my Māori grandmother as well. So she only just come to this world 2 days ago, and hopefully I can represent her as well.
Good luck out there.
Thanks, Marley. Good to see you.
We've got a little bit of hectic cheese at the end there, but very serious, and understandably so. Brandon Smith ready to put on a show and represent his culture a little later on. Yeah, Shante Temera played her part trying to give the team a spark when she came onto the ground, and Mator back for her second stint, running strongly there. Now Maya Helmawana keeps the legs pumping. Good go forward here, one out stuff though as they play catch up. And a kick to come from McGregor. Tries to poke it into space to get it away from Upton, but able to get there on the first bounce, Tamika. playing just her second All-Stars game. She missed out last year. Jamie Chapman was the fullback in that match in Rotorua. And here is Chapman. Space again for Jamie. Oh, she's a mover. One of the great movers. Jamie Chapman has another double on the All-Stars stage. She's just so good.
She just hurdled her then, Roo.
Yeah, and she's powerful. And then did you see who was chasing her? The person with the longest legs was being chased by the person with the shortest legs. Shantae Temura knew she wasn't going to be able to keep up. But watching this back on the Harvey Norman replay, it comes from nothing. It's just Chapo getting herself in position, staying alive, defence biting in on the ball there, and just look at her power. Strides away, and then, yeah, you're right, she does do a little bit of a hurdle.
Olympics are coming up. There was space there from the Maori women, and I think that's a big part of their game that they have to clean up, is their line speed and just staying on their feet and continuously moving. They didn't do that. Jamie Chapman got the footy in her hands, and as we've seen her do twice already, hit her straps from just a couple of steps to get over that advantage line. You cannot give these opportunities, particularly to players like that. That defensive line needs to reconnect and continuously move with one another to be able to stop those threats from happening. Have a look at this. She gets the footy on the inside and there's just no one even near her.
Yeah, there was a bite in there because they thought the ball was going down. I think it's Ray McGregor comes in and comes out of the defensive line. That's what creates that gap for Chapman to scoot through the way she did. But missed tackles is also a big one for the Maori. They've already missed about 20 tackles in 32 minutes of footy.
And straight in front, Kira Dibb makes it 22-0. Well, you'd love to be able to run like Jamie Chapman does, wouldn't you? One of the best movers in world sport. Out there in the left centre role tonight for the Indigenous All-Stars and eyeing off another Trish Hina medal. Oh, big hit from Mator, kept alive though with the offload and the hands from Fui Maono. It's all happening now. They're playing with confidence, the Indigenous side.
Well, it's really troubled the Maori has been the offloads and the shifting of the ruck. And we saw the Maori start this second half trying to get really physical, get up in their faces. But so far, the Indigenous All-Stars just coming up trumps.
Less than 5 minutes into the second half here, or third quarter as it is, and the players will be enjoying the fact they're split up into 4 15-minute quarters in the first game of the year. And meeting the sandwich of Mator and Kennedy Cherrington was Talisha Harden. Got that leg strapped as well. A little awkward getting back to her feet. As Baxter has been run around a couple of times by Chapman, combines with Zali Faye. That was adventurous play. Off the kick reception from Baxter. He backs it up here, Corbin. McGregor helps out at dummy half.
Probably haven't seen as much footy from the Maori All-Stars as I expected. They've got a couple of brilliant halves, but a lot of this just hitting up, trying to get that momentum, working to their kick.
Ralph Strand-Smith takes the defensive line on, and the held call comes on the last. They'll go to the left-hand side. Oh, nice pass for Rima Butler. Still going, Rima. Had support as well from Quinlan, who's just onto the ground, but they'll have to hand it over a couple of metres out here.
I saw her move her wing, and I thought, no, she's not going to offload out the back. Surely not.
What a run, though.
Oh. Considering where it started, Ash Quinlan coming on the field, I think, is a really good move for the Maori. She's got a lot of pizzazz, and she moves really well around that ruck.
Look at Rima's legs. Just does not stop.
Very hard to put down, Butler.
Yeah, particularly when she's on that little bit of an edge in some space. She's a great one, that a player that always needs support because she's so strong in contact. She's got that nice little hit and spin. And quite often gets a hand free at least.
Quinlan now getting involved defensively on back-to-back tackles as well. She'll have younger sister Felice alongside her at the Canberra Raiders in the 2024 season, one of their new signings. Oh, Joseph couldn't track down the footy, so the door opens here potentially for the Māori side. The NRL is helping to raise funds for the people of Wudjil and surrounding communities devastated by flooding following ex-tropical cyclone Jasper at the back end of 2023. Donate today by scanning that QR code on the screen. Together, we can make a meaningful impact. It has to happen right about now if the Māori side want to get back into this one.
Well, this is their best opportunity. Full set of 6, midfield scrum. They can manoeuvre the defence around the way they want. Now, this is where Ray McGregor and Z really need to step up and take control of the team.
And Quinlan can add another half to the equation as well. Plays in that role for the Raiders. So Temura has plenty of options. Matua right alongside will try and crash through them. And there's no way through there as Kemp and Dodd aim up. This time to McGregor. Back on the angle, Kennedy Cherrington with a move that she used to score tries in a World Cup final at Old Trafford a few years ago now. Another crash ball for Matua, and we're getting late in the count now.
There is space if they go to their left.
That's where they're headed. McGregor got the call in, puts it out in front of Quinlan. And Betty Welsh picked off by Bobby Law. Keeps it alive, though, for Faye, who can't find a way around Kira Dibb.
Great defence. They just keep turning up.
And it's a handover on the last.
That's exceptional defence from the Indigenous All-Stars. There was opportunity out there, but timing and numbers. Protecting that inside shoulder. They were there in cover, in support. And they probably just turned the Māori women away from the best and the biggest opportunity that they'd had all game.
Dodd. Upton was hunting around, trying to find any clocking off in the middle of the field, but could not hold on.
Well, another opportunity here for the Māori, a second bite at the cherry, but I don't think some of these passes need to be thrown. They're just trying to shift that ball, and sometimes when you get ahead by a few points, you get a little bit loose. I'm sure Jess Skinner, their coach, will be sending a message down just saying, all right, let's just tighten things up a little bit. Let's get back to basics. Let's get back to what worked for us. Use our physicality, use our line speed, get up in their face defensively and in attack. Be nice and clean.
Quinlan hits Baxter, wrapping around and targeting that left-hand side, the fullback. Butler. Kelly Signs got help from Joseph. Inside the 10 again here. The first points brewing now for the Māori side. Depth on the right-hand side, a bit flatter on the left, and they'll go to the right. Quinlan, couldn't get it to Strange, who was unmarked and eyeing that try line.
The idea was there. They had the centre and the winger in a position where they could both catch the ball depending on what the defender was going to do. It was just the execution of that last pass, the pressure of the defensive line, which they've crumbled to a fair few times this game, and just not getting that execution and losing the opportunity in a key position, and it's such a crucial part of the game.
Let's get back down to Marley Silver again. Special guest is the Hammer.
So Townsville is a place that you've played plenty of rugby league, but it's also a place where a lot of Torres Strait Islander people are. What does it mean to you as a person with family ties to Side by Island to be repping your mob tonight?
Yeah, it means a lot to me. I think being back up here, there's a big group of Torres Strait Islanders, and just for them to showcase the game here in front of my family and my culture, it's a really big thing for me.
Your try celebration is a really famous one, and it's also your totem. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I bring it out a couple of years ago, and just to keep it with me and seeing young kids do it, it's really proud for me and my culture as well. So it's a really good thing for me.
Well, we might see that celebration tonight. Good luck.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
Yes, hopefully the Hammer does bring out that famous celebration tonight. And everyone will be copying him in the crowd, no doubt. So the mistake comes here from Grace Kemp. And they've been dominating field position, haven't they? The Maori All-Stars.
Well, it's 3 back-to-back errors from the Indigenous team coming out of their own half, and Maori have been turned away every single time, so they're going to be tasked with trying to turn them away again. But this is where the Maori girls just really need to start syncing together.
Second phase from Ralph Strand-Smith, but the pass hits the deck and actually turns into a negative play as Betty Welsh had nowhere to go. Actually got more NRLW experience in their team, 328 games compared to 308 in the Indigenous side. Head-to-head here. Oh, no looker for Parker. Support on the inside. She may not need them. Parker trying to slide her way over. Upton's made another try saver. Cherrington from dummy half. Almost through the legs of Shanice Parker, which is illegal, of course. Told to play it. Oh, that might work out. No, it's deemed to have gone forward, is it? That must have been line ball. And there's still no points for the Māori side.
Well, they looked really close when Shanice Parker just ran such a clever but hard angle, challenging that inside shoulder, breaking through the advantage line. And it got them this field position. And it's just slipped out of Shante Tamara's hand.
Looked like she hit her knee in the backswing there, trying to get it out.
But if it goes backwards, it's okay.
They look better, but if it hits
a hard angle to judge that from.
It naturally has to go forward, though, because if you go to throw it and it hits your knee, it goes forward.
Physics.
Yeah.
From Ruan
we cover all topics here.
Physics. Certainly did not take physics at high school.
Some inertia involved.
But don't you think, though, they look better when they change their angle and they come a little bit wider and attack back against the grain? That's where I think they can make some inroads, the Maori.
There's 2 players that have done it brilliantly all game, and it's coughs up the footy again. It's Shanice Parker, that woman just there, and then on the other side, Rima Butler. They need support around the ball, and they also need to be prepared to play off the back of them if they get tackled and just react that little bit quicker.
Maybe only time for one full set here before three-quarter time to give them some momentum to take into the final stanza. Tamara picked off by Quincy Dodd, defending in the middle, gamely, alongside Kelly Sines. Decent service from dummy half, moved on by Cherrington to Shanice Parker, trying to get one back on Jamie Chapman, but good luck as the ball is jolted free by physicality of 3 tacklers.
It was great defence from the Indigenous women, but just standing flat foot, catching the footy, they just caught and passed, and it gave the Indigenous women that time to get up, get in their face, and to put that pressure on.
Not quick.
Force the turnover, and here they are, a little bit, another piggyback to get out of their own end. The pressure's off.
Yeah, the frustration of not coming up with points, considering how much time they've been camped down here. It's converting into penalties now. There's a high shot, but there is a little bit of feeling starting to creep into this game. We saw Grace Kemp lose the ball just earlier, and her and Kennedy Cherrington have a little bit of a push and shove in backfield.
What about that for a touch finder? Able to bounce it behind Jazzy Strange to give them great field position here. Best field position they've had in about 10 minutes, it seems, but only time for 1 or 2 plays. That penalty earned by Monique Donovan, who gets the ball back to Chapman there. Had a quiet day on the left wing. Jada Taylor played on the left wing last year for the Indigenous side, rehabbing from shoulder surgery in New South Wales. Hello, Jada, if you're watching, no doubt, as they try and beat the siren here. The tackle made by Ralph Strand-Smith. So that's three-quarter time in the Women's All-Stars. It's the Indigenous team in control. They lead this one by 22 points to nil.
You are now witnessing the power of black magic. Black magic.
Do you sing? All right, do you sing?
Out. In. Out. One more. In. Out. That's enough. Wait for BJ, wait for BJ.
Right. You tell me. reckon you can come up with a solution right now?
I can hold the ball.
Righto. It's an onus on the ball carrier. When you carry the ball, you use your bumpers, you hit the floor and you play the ball. If you do not have to offload, you do not have to offload. The objective is to keep them down here. The scoreboard is in our favour. What do they need to go over the top of us? They need the ball. They need the ball. They need points. Starve them of the ball.
Nothing fancy, fast. Just step away.
You've done all the hard work. This is where you put in execution. You'll be fine. Okay. Halves when you're coming out. Unless you're getting the ball and tipping on very early, you do not have to touch the ball. Your job is to put in the corner.
I'm main fucking word this whole game is hunt, and it's fucking working. Keep it up, alright? Let's go, hands in. Bitch, your fucking in it. Everyone dig in. Listen for that early kick. Mob deep. Listen for that early kick, and everyone fucking run. On Kimmy.
There's so many former legends of the game here at the All-Stars, and I found Dean Witters. Dean, you're a part of the men's team. What's this week been like?
It's been fantastic, you know. The boys have bonded by dancing and doing our cultural dances all night. So they're up to 1 a.m, staying in camp, practicing dances. They've got 6 or 7 dances that they learn. We had guys do a Wiradjuri language class and speak language. So we're breathing air back into our culture, and the boys are loving it. It's fantastic.
It's so beautiful. You also said you've got a story to tell me about Ronnie Griffiths. What's he like as a coach?
He's just been impressive all week in camp. He's got the right temperament to manage these boys. He stays very level-headed. He's very even all the way through the week, and he's a brilliant coach. And to see him firsthand up close, I've really enjoyed the week. And Ronald Griffiths is going to do amazing things for our people in the game in that coaching space.
Fantastic. Well, good luck to the boys tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we get a couple of wins, eh?
Great to hear from Dean Witters. He mentioned Ronnie Griffiths there, who was the two-time NRLW Premiership coach with the Newcastle Knights, but he's been replaced in a big off-season move by the man who's got a blue shirt on tonight for the Indigenous team.
Yeah, Ben Jeffries is taking over as head coach. Big shoes to fill with Ronnie Griffiths, and he's, another error here from Indigenous, but Ronnie Griffiths will be moving on to coach the New South Wales Cup team for Newcastle.
Off the ball and
But another error here by the Indigenous side coming out of trouble.
But they've defended well after giving up possession on multiple occasions in this second half, still keeping a clean sheet here against the Māori side.
Just have a look at the play the balls. There's Indigenous have had 10 and the Maori have had 17, yet the score is 22-0 in favour of the Indigenous side. Great defence.
Kennedy Cherrington to play it here, 25 metres out. Martor, ball playing role this time for Ralph Strand-Smith. Destiny Brill back in that dummy half role. And they weren't quite sure. The communication has been off, hasn't it, at times for the Māori side. Disheartening to look up and see that scoreline at three-quarter time, trailing by 22 with only 15 minutes to go. Have to click into gear in a hurry. Here they come through Baxter with that footwork. Corbin Baxter, where's the support? Invents a pass to Vetty Welsh. And she's wrapped up as well. We'll play it on the last. The West Tigers co-captain. Martor going to crash her way over, and they spin her the right way, the Indigenous team, to keep them scoreless again.
Yeah, great defence again. They did ask a couple more questions that set, the Māori women. I think they've realised that just doing 1 and 2 up isn't going to be enough, getting that territory, because they have been parked down there and they've had plenty of opportunities attacking the line. So you can see their intent there. But now it's just all around that timing and execution. I thought when Corbin Baxter swept late around the left, that looked quite threatening. Just that late sweep to catch the defence off guard a little bit with numbers.
Well, the attitude in defence here is going to be really important. If they get their line speed, they stay together and they're physical, they'll be able to restrict the metres that the Indigenous side can come out of trouble or force another error like that. So this is a key opportunity here for the Māori. They must score points in this set.
Again, they start inside the 30 with ball in hand, and Biddle caught high by a lazy arm by Koenig, who bailed out in time to avoid the penalty being blown. But inside the red zone, Biddle hopefully able to continue on there. A little proppy after that play the ball.
She's in trouble. She's calling the trainer. She can't move.
Lower leg injury for Anessa Biddle, the Cronulla Shark, as Quinlan goes to the winger, and they are on the board now through Jazzy Strange for the Māori All-Stars.
Yeah, great awareness from Ash Quinlan to let that ball go to a winger. Just watching that defensive line and the way that their shoulders and their hips were facing, she knew that the opportunity was out there and just let it go nice and early enough. As we see here on the Harvey Norman replay, you can see Jamie Chapman's in, the wingers in, and she just gives it to Jazzy Strange nice and early to execute and score that try.
So tries in back-to-back All-Stars games for Jazzy Strange, the 21-year-old who also opened the scoring in last year's grand final for Newcastle.
She held a line really well. This kick here, raised just away.
Wait.
So with just over 10 minutes remaining in the ball game, Māori All-Stars give themselves a glimmer of hope, getting that margin back to 3 converted tries now after that 4-pointer from Jazzy Strange.
Vanessa is on the sideline there. We saw her just hobbling with that lower limb injury. Not happy. No.
Well, there was no bunker intervention to suggest there was a hip drop tackle.
It didn't look like, it just looked like she just got jammed up. It didn't look like there was anything malicious in it.
Mator, she's tried hard right throughout this encounter. It'll take her up around 80 metres run so far. Anderson moving it on to Matua. A bit of footwork at the line. And
oh, that's a good run.
But again, it's 2 passes wide. It's just that little bit wider, getting away from the strength of the Indigenous side through the middle.
Brill playing with her eyes up, but coughs it up.
Spoke too soon. Put the mocker on her. That run by Matua. Just that little bit wider makes such a difference. You can find a little bit of a space in shoulder instead of just midline.
If you try anything, Kennedy Cherrington, tackle had been completed, held had been called, and she just reefed it away. 1-on-1, but long after the event. I don't think anyone gives away more penalties than Kennedy Cherrington. Question without notice to David Middleton, who's not giving me any feedback just yet, but does have to tidy up her discipline at times. TikTok superstar, 180,000 plus followers on that social media platform for Kennedy Cherrington.
Are you one of those, Speedy?
Not a TikToker myself, just doing the research. Yes, Todd Hunter into dummy half. Dodd went short side, but they come to Joseph, and now Upton. Nice one-on-one tackle made by Quinlan. They claim a bobble, but it's play on for Koenig. And Upton short side. Delays the pass for Bobby Law. Almost deserves a try with her impeccable performance at right centre. Hunt, one of the try scorers, helps out at dummy half. Slow service for Todd Hunter, left her a sitting duck in the middle. Takes one for the team there, does Tanika. Back to Upton having another go. And Bobby Law, can she keep it alive here? Knew she had tackles up her sleeve, so goes to ground and now plays for the penalty. There's nothing doing.
No, they just looked like they were trying to set up for the next big play.
Oh, they're going to challenge it.
Okay. Got a captain's challenge. Indigenous are challenging the on-field decision of a knock-on.
I was a long way away from it. I couldn't see. You got eagle eyes, Speedy.
Can't take them with you, of course, the captain's challenges, so may as well roll the dice here and see whether there was a stripping involved by Ash Quinlan. Doubtful on first inspection.
Surely not.
Not on first look.
Just looking to see if there's a knock-on from the Indigenous All-Stars.
Liam Kennedy is the voice you're hearing back in the bunker.
I don't see a stripping action. Her hand's near the ball, but I think Bobby just loses this one. Even Bobby knows. She's had a little look at the screen.
The Indigenous All-Star player knocks the ball on. The captain's challenge is unsuccessful.
You know what? It was probably worth a crack at this point in the game.
Talisha, unsuccessful. No challenges remaining.
Gives us the chance to go down and check in with Marley Silver again, another superstar alongside her.
Well, Dane, you're one of the lucky few who's been able to represent both of their cultures. What does it mean to you to have played for the Indigenous and the Maori sides in this All-Stars?
Yeah, it means a lot to not just myself, but my family. Being able to represent both cultures, I think that's what it's all about tonight. Obviously, both teams want to go out and win a game of footy, but the whole week's been about celebrating two very strong, proud cultures and everyone getting behind that. So hopefully we can showcase that tonight out on the field.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of celebration out there. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget the men's game tonight on 9. So viewers watching this on Gem right now will have to flick across on the remote to watch the men's game. What about the back line that Dane Gagai will be trying to contain that the Indigenous team have put together for this year? Talk about star-studded. And so too this game. Superstars of the game strutting their stuff. Jamie Chapman might just be looking at putting a second Trish Hina medal around her neck after the performance tonight.
She's been outstanding tonight. Every opportunity she's got, she's made the most of it and scored some points with some really great efforts.
Good offload from Destiny Brill.
Anderson picks up 10 metres off the back of it and will play it on the last. Do they go for the kick from Temera back onto the ground after a rest on the bench, and Donovan with a nice safe take up. These Indigenous jerseys just spectacular, designed by Jaquita Saunders, a storytelling artist from Lianjin who loves her rugby league. And the design so detailed with the main feature, the rivers and waterways that connect tribes around the country. As Upton is caught high here. So popular, these jerseys as well. You see them around rugby league fields and right around the country for the next year until the next jersey comes out.
Yeah, they are fantastic designs, and it's wonderful to showcase local talent as well, and to showcase our Indigenous artists here in Australia. I think it's fantastic. And the Maori jerseys are just as popular with all of the expats here in Australia and over in New Zealand.
And the design continuing all the way down to those purple shorts as well. Here's Kemp. He's had a fabulous debut in the Rugby League Women's All-Stars. Great tackle, flying in.
Grafstrand Smith.
Janelle Williams. Decent play the ball though, and I think Kernick thought she was the decoy runner. And received the footy and could not hold on.
I can hear every coach at home saying, you're never a decoy, you're always an option. But the defence there by the Maori, very starchy, got up in their faces, putting some really good contact on the Indigenous All-Stars.
Destiny Brill's found a fair bit of space in and around the ruck, but quite often she's by herself. She got that play the ball wrong. She's gone a few times since that fatigue's come into the game, but there's just no one up to that pace. I think it's been a contributing factor for the Māori women is just their game fitness. The fatigue seems to have really set in. late in both halves. It's tough, the first hit out for the year.
March 3, Rugby League is heading to the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. The glamour boys of the NRL, the Roosters and Broncos, going head-to-head at Allegiant Stadium just weeks after the Super Bowl was played at that venue. Las Vegas Rugby League, live and free from 3 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, right here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Upton inside the red zone. Todd Hunter onto Williams. Less than 5 minutes to go. They want to put the cherry on top here, the Indigenous side. Still leading by that 18-point margin. Here's Chapman with the play that she scored all those tries off in the grand final, off Loz Brown passes.
Yeah, she wasn't going to let that happen again, Kennedy Cherrington. Great contact, first contact on Jamie Chapman.
Kemp. Oh, out of the line. Shanice Parker appeared to catch Dodd high, and then tackle slipping down low, causing some distress for Quincy Dodd, but she's okay. Kick in behind from Dibb. Awkward bouncing ball, and Hunt, of course, with the ball handling. The girl from Tully has a double, and the crowd, all her family and friends, roar as one for Kimberly Hunt.
I can hear all of the NRLW coaches' phones just tapping away right now, just texting. Let's get this girl to our club. She puts herself in a really good position to finish this try off, and the Harvey Norman replay will show it was a little bit clunky through the middle, but Kira Dibb tries to thread the needle here and just picks up Zali Faye, and with the pressure coming from the outside in, Faye has to make a clean play at this ball, and the pressure just unfortunately forced the error out of her, and Kim Hunt was in an excellent position.
Yeah, I think again we got to see the kicking game of Kira Dibb and how effective it has been throughout this game. Her kick option was perfect. She saw that space in between Anessa Biddle and Ash Quinlan, and she just let it open up before she put it through. Backed herself with the conditions. But that kick chase is crucial. Doesn't happen if Hunt isn't there, so she well and truly deserves it. You can't really see it from this angle, but she just held it up enough perfectly for that space to be there, so it could slot straight through. She's such a clever kicker in this game, Kira Dibb, really leading the way.
I remember seeing a doco on Tully a few years back, and they actually commissioned a giant gumboot to reflect how much rainfall there is in that part of the world. So her handling of the footy in these wet conditions has been a standout feature of tonight's performance. Kimberly Hunt, 31 years young. Got her crack at NRLW last season, and surely another deal coming from somewhere for the 2024 season. So Dibb, who provided the try assist with that little grubber, trying to convert from out wide. 3 out of 4 tonight, and it's 3 out of 5 just. 26 points to 4. Don't forget that men's All-Stars game coming up on Channel 9. Here's the coin toss. Tarpany and Latrell, and the toss won by Latrell Mitchell for the Indigenous side. And they sorting out who's going which way. Looking forward to that one. That back line that Latrell Mitchell is part of, it is mouth-watering. See what they will produce tonight. And history being made here tonight by Jess Skinner. Single mum of 2. First female head coach of an All-Stars side from Trangie in New South Wales, population less than 1,000, and a remarkable trailblazer.
Absolutely, she's also an assistant coach with the Jillaroos. Been involved in that for a little while now, and this is a significant win for the All-Stars. Last time they were up here, it was the other way around. It was the Maori All-Stars that had a big victory, and now they've taken that one back.
Done a lot of her apprenticeship under Ron Griffiths, who we mentioned earlier, moving into the men's game. Todd Hunter, one-on-one tackle from Destiny Brill. Not afraid to get in and under. Dibb's kicking game has been superb tonight.
It's been one of the big differences, as well as Tamika Upton, but that kick chase, I think between the kicking game, the kick chase, and also their line speed in defence, which has put the Māori women under all sorts of pressure, is what's really won them the game, and a lot of those are effort areas in particular, and then just the execution of their kicking game has been superb.
Oh, and another forced error through the defence that you've just been speaking about. Considering the conditions, considering everything that's been happening, they've only missed 14 tackles, the Indigenous All-Stars, so they've been right up in the face of the Maori all night, forcing errors, forcing them to just go one out. And now here with just over a minute left, they've got another opportunity to try and put some points on the board.
No one can win this fixture back-to-back, can they? It's
No.
been flip-flopping.
It has. It has. It's always so difficult because every year you get some new talent coming in and you're just not sure how it's going to play out, but a dominant victory by the Indigenous All-Stars today.
Bobby Law straightening up against Betty Welsh. Yeah, they played for the first time in 2019 and have been alternating wins since then. The motivation factor of losing one year and wanting to make amends the next might be a little factor as well. Joseph, final 30 seconds. Out in front of Dodd. On the outside, Donovan running out of room, step back inside, and the cover arrived in time. Ball has come loose again. So great defensive intensity at this stage of the game in a well-beaten team from the Māori All-Stars. And that should just about wrap this one up as time is about to expire. Do they try and go 90? I think that'll do us. The Indigenous team celebrate success in Townsville and square the ledger at 3 wins apiece down the years in this head-to-head battle. Full time, the Indigenous team 26, the Māori All-Stars 4.